so serious meaning that we're just using apps as a distribution platform, and while we're primarily looking at smartphones, we're also looking at doing it on iPads, iPods, even Samsung TVs, and it has the potential to be expanded across these different platforms, given the uptake allows it. But basically, thematically, what Hunter and Hornet is about is these two wannabe pickup artists who are currently called Kate and Sade, but eventually they become Hunter and Hornet later on down the track, and we see their maturing throughout the season, if you like. So basically, they role-play pickup scenarios where one plays the girl and the other one plays the guy, vice versa, and they give each other tips and advice on how they went. But it's sort of a little bit like blind leading the blind sort of thing. So, yeah, confession time. After a night out with a good friend of mine who's got a very funny sense of humour, him and I were just in the car, you know, like as two single guys. We were just talking about girls and things that work, and we both knew of dating science before that, which is basically being popularised by The Game, which has been written by Neil Strauss, which many people know of pickup artists through that. So we were just in the car, and one of us said to the other, pick me up, and that person started playing the role of a girl, and the other person was making advances. So this 3-minute bizarre scene ensued in my little car in the middle of Bondi, and afterwards, I mean, thank God no one saw that, but it was just really funny, and this idea stuck in my head, and I was just like, it'd be really interesting just to flesh it out a little bit and see whether we can make a Truck Fest video or anything like that. And I was in this process of writing a feature film, like every single actor on the planet seems to do at some stage. But basically, I just wanted to sort of master scenes, short form content first, and so I just started writing 1, 2, 3, 4 different episodes, and it's sort of like there was this interesting progression of themes and things that were coming out, and so yeah, it just sort of started coming out, and basically had 21 of them that I was like quite happy with, and yeah, I just started thinking about what to do with it. Production itself took around about 6 months, but the whole life of the concept has been in excess of 2.5 years. It's been quite a learning curve, but from right from the start to where we are now, it's really developed, as most projects hopefully and thankfully do. But it's been quite interesting, just in terms of the development. You know, has taken about 6 times longer than what I anticipated, and the post-production was also quite complex. You know, there was like little niggly things. You run out of money, you know, so you got to go earn it or steal it or do whatever, and to be able to chuck it back towards it. So yeah, it's been a process. The end goal with it is a TV show, sort of Flight of the Conchord-esque, and meets Dumb and Dumber. And it very briefly, so what happens with in the TV show is that Hunter and Hornet, they end up buying these tickets to a workshop, and that's in LA, and so they eventually make their way over there to find out that the address that they were given ended up being an abandoned warehouse, so they've been duped, and so without any money or any means to get back, they've got to use all their pickup artist skills to find accommodation, work, friends, and settle over there. So basically, I sort of put it as a ballpark figure, but I think if we generate about 200,000 regular users per month, that's sort of when I think we'll be ripe to start entertaining the idea of enacting the full show. But there is 7 bundles within the first series that I'm really keen on, like, nutting out before any of that happens down the track. And also something else that the reason why it's taking so long, and that I'm doing it in sort of the hard way, if you like, by taking the steps that I have. I'm a big believer in creating sustainable business models, and so that's why it's a bit daring. It's this whole concept, and it hasn't been tried out in this kind of fashion where I'm specifically creating content for the iPhone platform, and that is the primary distribution method. So essentially, like, it'll be interesting to see the uptake of what that happens, but obviously from a monetization perspective, these micropayments really enable users to directly support us and allow us to elaborate on this concept and flesh it out.